Welcome back to the Gym Crack podcast. I'm your host, Adrian Allen, and very warm welcome from the front seat of my car here in Mandurah, Western Australia, about 1 hour south of Perth. And hope you've all been doing well. It is now the middle of June, nearly the end of June, the 23rd of June. My 40th birthday seems the topic of the 23rd is on the table. My 40th birthday is in 1 month's time. I will be 40 years of age. Hard to believe. For such a young looking man, I got a fresh haircut today. Make me feel good about myself. I've been to the gym to do a HYROX session. And I have to say, it's the first time I've done HYROX sessions in about 8 weeks since I actually last did my first HYROX event. And today, that is exactly what I'm going to talk about. I'm going to explain to you how my first HYROX experience went and my regret in signing up for another one. So that should tell you all you need to know about how this went. But there is lots of things I want to touch on today. Mainly, obviously, to go through my experience with HYROX and especially doing my first open HYROX event, men's open. I also did the doubles event with Kirby Jones the day after, and that's something I will speak about at the very end. But today I mainly want to go through what happened during the race, how I approached the race, how I was strategic in certain aspects of the race, what I did the pre-race, and then kind of go through the race. I like to call it the first four stations and the back end. And the back end is where the damage occurs and where it can go to shit on the first four, but it is certainly on the back end when you will feel like you're in a world that you're not used to being in, to tell you the truth. It can go one of two ways. It's there was definitely plenty of lessons learned. It was a great experience. I actually really enjoyed it. But there was parts of it that I was like, holy shit. I was not expecting it to turn out this way, or I wasn't expecting certain aspects of the race to be the way it actually worked out. I'm after dropping my headphones, but that's alright. They're underneath the seat of the car. So I guess to give you some context into the HYROX event, I did say on my last podcast episode that I think I could do this in about 1 hour 5 to 1 hour 10. And then I did say, because I just listened to it about an hour ago, I did say if I could finish somewhere in the middle, I'd be quite happy. So I was thinking, maybe about a 108, 107, I'd be happy with. I'd be doing really well. So that's just to give you an idea of what I thought my prediction would be versus what I wonder and what you might be thinking what actually happened. So I guess getting up, it was I was first in the first heat, first event, should I say, the first heat. Yeah, the first wave of people out on the Friday morning in Bangkok. The setup for Bangkok HYROX is absolutely incredible. I haven't been to too many HYROX events, but this event is on a scale, even people that I was talking to there were saying it's second to none. Like, you literally only have to do one loop of the track and then you're into the station. So there was none of this, like, I think it was Wales, where they had to do three loops, and then for the first three runs they had to do three loops and come in. For the next two they had to do two loops and come in, and then for the last two they had to go back to three loops, all this shit. Whereas in Bangkok, it's massive. It's an air-conned building. It's huge. All the stations are in the middle. The run track is on the outside. It's all indoor, and it is massive. It is huge. If I'm saying it's huge, it's one of the biggest. Like, I think it's one of the biggest arenas you can possibly do a HYROX in, and it was certainly well set up. Throughout the whole lot of it. Yeah, even where they had like the racetrack, the spectator situation where you could watch things from. You could see every station. I've seen some places you can go and you can't see people doing burpees. You can't see people doing certain exercises because they're just in an area that you can't get to. But yeah, getting up in the morning, getting up at about 5 o'clock in the morning to race at 9. I got up and I did a little 10-minute run outside, and the bloody not even just the temperature, but the whole, like, just the heat that there is in the morning in Bangkok. What's the word I'm looking for? Not just the temperature, but I'm having a brain fart. It's where, like, the temperature is hot, but it's also just the outside and the humidity. Humidity was the word I was looking for. The humidity was sick, and I was absolutely sweating after about 10 minutes, and I was like, shit. This is going to be torture. If this was outside, it would be absolute hell. But kind of hoping that to be in there at 9 o'clock in the morning, then there wouldn't be too many people, and it would also be like, wouldn't be as hot. If the building did get hot during the afternoon, then it might get a little bit hotter, but that wasn't the case for me, thanks be to God. So yeah, I did a little run, like a little shakeout run in the morning, and then I had my oats to eat, and got down there nice and early. Registration was at 8. Even though I was running at 9, the registration didn't open till 8. So I was queuing up like shit myself, going up like, I need to I, I need to get going here because I got to be warming up in 30 minutes. But we did get into the arena in plenty of time, and I did start my warm up at around 8:30. Now for the warm up again, because no one else had been out running before us. Everyone was in now at this day. Not the whole crowd. It was still, the arena was quiet, but for the guys that were starting at 9 o'clock, and the people are in at 9:10 and 9:20 because they run the waves every 10 minutes. The warm up area started to get pretty busy. You're just trying to go through the motions. You're just trying to, like, feel what it's like. I'm not worried about what anyone else is doing. I'm just looking around at dudes that are absolutely ripped. Not a fucking pick of fat on some fellas. My confidence the last couple of months hasn't been sky high. I will admit I might be weighing a little bit more than I usually would. So I certainly didn't have my top off. And that was probably, do you know what? It was probably a good thing, because when the sweat starts to come on, at least you have something to wipe your sweat on, or at least you have something to keep you cool. That goes for, like, when you're doing any runs, or if you're out doing any events, then it's always better that when you are sweating that you have something on that will cool you down. But yeah, I was not one to flex my biceps. Well, my biceps were on show because I wore a vest. But I also wore a heart rate monitor. My heart rate monitor, my Garmin heart rate monitor, because that's part of my strategy when I do these events, and certainly for the first time, and how I planned to do this, is that I was kind of going to work off heart rate, especially for the runs, so that I could control the runs, and that, like, the stations kind of differ. It's hard to kind of go off your heart rate for the stations when there's just different aspects. Burpees, which are plyometric, lunges, which are more strength and endurance, skiers and rowers, more endurance again, and then you have your sled push, sled pull, which is strength. So your heart rate kind of doesn't necessarily go too high. You can't really, and some of those stations, like, it's just not consistent. Yes, the ski and the row you can be consistent, but heart rate for the run for me is a way that I can really manage the runs there. But we did get to start the race at 9 o'clock. We got in. There was probably about 30 or 40 lads in that the corral area under the Red Bull sign. And, if there's one thing HYROX taught me, it's that fitness will get you to the start line, but strategy is going to get you to the finish line. And as fit as I think I can be on my day, I also knew that if I go out here too hot and I start cooking in the first 20 minutes, there's going to be a long, long way to that finish line. And you'll be probably lucky if you make the finish line, because you probably have a mental breakdown and you just throw in the towel, or you'll get injured. And that was probably one of a surprising thing. Now, I know there's hundreds upon thousands of people doing HYROX, but what did surprise me on my event was the number of people, and probably not so surprising, is that the number of people that obviously, like, would be going down with calf cramps and calf issues and hamstring issues and everything else. And a lot of people scattered around the floor. I was like, shit, like, that can be the consequence of pushing the sled. It can be the consequence of running. It can be the consequence of just going out too hard. It can be the consequence of not recovering. It can be a whole load of things, and it can happen to anyone at any time of day. And even some people that I've seen and know personally, and they've had to pull up with this, like, you just don't know how it could go on the day. And calves are calf muscles and hamstrings are always an area of concern for me personally. But yeah, starting off, so like what I was doing is like, your strategy. You got to be strategic, and you got to be smart, and you can still make mistakes, people. Okay, so my goal here was to start off and go out easy, go out as easy beyond easy. You think you're going out easy? Go out easier, because your heart rate is going to pick up pretty fast. Now, one thing you can do when you're in that tunnel and it's all getting excited and people are standing at the front, the tops are off, the testosterone is flowing because it's an all-male event for the start. The girls come in later on. And then I'm pretty sure if you mix the guys and the girls in there for the first goal, people will be getting pregnant and shit just staring at each other. But anyway, it's an incredible place to start. Like, the adrenaline is high, and I knew to myself, I'm like, I'm gonna have to manage it. And by managing it, I let everyone else run. Once the timer clocked down and it said 3, 2, 1, go, I was still standing at the back of the back with about 20 seconds before everyone left the corral, because like I'm not mixing it. I know one guy from France, Julian, and he's elite, and he does this constantly. He does the pros. He was doing an open because he was injured, and it was the start of his racing season, and I was like, don't you even think about being anywhere near this guy, because he runs. He has Asian Pacific world records and all that kind of stuff for relays, for singles, for doubles, all of it. So I was like, don't even be near him. So I let him off anyway. I said, good luck to you, lad. I actually met him at Unit 27 in Thailand. He's incredible. He's done some amazing things in the HYROX world the last couple of years. But going out, I said to myself, right, I'm going out easy, nice and easy, settle into it and see what happens. But on my Garmin heart rate monitor, I tell myself, okay, like no more than 160, like maximum 165. Not even on the first run, but I didn't think I would hit that on the first run. I was at 167, 168 after about 300 meters. And like, no matter how much you tell yourself that you're going to go easy, your body will have a different idea what easy is and what adrenaline is in your body, and how we're going to mix the two of them together and send your heart rate to the moon. Okay? So as easy as I thought I was even going out, my body was telling me otherwise. So I was sitting at around 167 after 300, 400, 500 meters. And I was like, you better back this off, even back it off even more. But you are running faster at the start. Like, you are running, no matter what, you're fresh, everything feels good, the energy is big, and you are going to be running faster even though you feel like it's easier, which, it feels easier, but then your heart rate is telling you otherwise. But even at that, for the first run at this HYROX this Bangkok HYROX, you actually had to do almost 2 loops, which is about 1.5 kilometers. So it was taking about like 6 minutes. It actually took me about 6 minutes to complete the first run. But then the rest of them were, I think, to be honest with you, the rest of the runs were more so around 800 to 900 meters. Obviously, you have the rock zone. For anyone that has done HYROX before, they understand what the rock zone is. It's the area between the run and the stations. If you haven't done HYROX before, it's the part between the run and the stations, which, it's a small area, but it takes up a lot of time. It's like it's not a break. A lot of people use it as a break, but you don't want to use it. You want to get through the rock zone and get the station done and get out. So the first run took about 6 minutes, and it did show on my watch that it was about 1.5 kilometers, or I was lapping it on my watch so that I could check the stats afterwards. And, that was about a 4-minute kilometer average pace. And I was like, we are not keeping that up. Like, there's no hope in hell that I've come here in the position I'm in with the training I've done to be running 4-minute kilometers, because I'm going to die. So I settled in. I was thinking to myself, right, around that 165, 167 average heart rate that I would aim for the rest of them if possible. But we'll see how it goes. But I got in off my first one, and I got to the ski. Again, with the ski, I was like, hey, you're just going to hold. You're going to hold around the 2 minutes and 5 seconds per 500 meters. And again, with my stroke rate, I'm kind of doing like 1 stroke every 2 seconds. So that gives me about 30 strokes a minute. And if you are used to the concept rowers or the skiers, you will see that in the top right hand corner where your stroke rate. And it's a good way to like pace yourself, because you don't want to be doing 60 strokes a minute, which would make it 60 strokes. You would give yourself a heart attack. So it's a good way to kind of slow it down. Going out too hard on the first station, even, people, you need to be mindful. And I was mindful of it. And I was like, I am going to do the right thing here. And I don't care what anyone else is doing. I'm just going to settle into the ski and get the first one out the way. Like, get it done. I don't care how long it takes me. And then I'm past the first run and I'm past the first ski. And I'm on, like, I'm in the game basically. But you still got to manage it. So, like, you can, the discomfort is going to come. And you're going to have to manage that as well. So, managing the race when you aren't in any discomfort is going to have to be done, and then you're going to have to manage it when the discomfort comes. So that gets me like to the first four. I've kind of touched on the ski, but the first 4 stations, yes, it's half the race. You have 4 runs and 4 stations, but it's the first 4 where you can really fuck this up, because if you go out too hard on these first 4, the back 4, you don't have a hope. Like, there's no, like, I'm telling you that now. If you go out hot in the first 4 and you don't leave anything for the back 4, because the back 4 are definitely the hardest 4, in my opinion, anyway. And everyone will probably have, I guess, if you were like 60 kg, then the sleds are going to be heavy. I'm 90 kg, so it didn't really bother me about the weight of the sled. But got past the ski, then I got on. I did my run. The next run, again, it feels like this. It feels like that the second run, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, 8 runs were all a bit shorter than the first one, which they would have shown on the watch. But I don't think they were a clear kilometre. They were probably about 900 metres. But again, yeah, getting settled into it, I was sitting around that 165, 167 heart rate, and that was giving me about an average pace. I thought to myself that a good average pace for the run would be about 430 per kilometre. Like, you know, going off a 10k pace, like my average pace for a 10k is like 402. But I'm not going to be running a 10k pace, like, we know that. So you think you're going to be a bit outside it. Your threshold pace, usually for me, it's about 110 to 115, or 410 to 415 per kilometre. But again, you've got the stations in the middle, so you don't know if you can go off that. But my average run for the first 2 were sitting around the 405 per kilometre. 405, 406. But in my own head, I'm like, that's still a bit too hard, and we have 6 more to go. So you might want to rein it in still a little bit. And that's about just keeping control and keeping composure. Once I get in off the second run, I'm onto the sled push. You have 4 lengths of the sled to do. I went halfway on the sled track. I took a little break. I pushed to the end. I took a little break, pushed halfway back, took a little, like, when I say a little break, 5 seconds, and then go again, because I wasn't too sure how I would be running off the sled. So you have, I think it's up and down once and up and down twice, and then you run out. I didn't even know where the exit was for running off the sleds, and it happened to be twice. So it did. So I didn't even know where to run. So that was the thing about having people in front of you. You could watch where they were going, so that you could actually see. But I was on the sled, and when I came off the sled, I didn't know where the exit point was, and I was looking around, asking the judges, how do I get out of here? But, like, that's just race, not knowing a whole pile about the races and the entrances and the exits when you haven't done any of this before, and you get so caught up in what you're doing that you actually don't know where the exit point is for you to run. But I do get out of that run. The danger here with the sled push is that, yes, your hamstrings and your quads and your calves will be cooking if you do not break it up. All right. And I'm talking to people, like, if you're elite at this, then you do not listen to my advice. If you are a beginner, or you feel like, this is your first time, or this is something that you want to do in the future, or this is something you've done before and it didn't go well, I'm just saying how I would do it, and this is how I did it, and, like, breaking it up from the start. Maybe if I had months of training and I had done really a lot of specific HYROX stuff, then I would maybe try and risk it, to push, you'd probably have to, if you were trying to go sub 1 hour, you probably would have to be doing unbroken sleds, tell you the truth. Um, and then only resting at each end. But yeah, I broke it up halfway each time, and that always gave me a chance to just recover, look up, see Kirby, smile. I'm doing great, babe, haven't I? Get the picture for the camera, you man on the camera on the ground, get the photos, and then get out and get running again. And running off the back of a heavy sled, it's just like in triathlons when you do a long cycle and you got to run off the bike to get onto the run. There is a little bit of fatigue build up, but there would be a whole pile of fatigue build up if you try and do those sleds unbroken. So I get out on my third run. Again, nice and controlled. I go out a little bit easier. Like once I come off the track or come off the station, I'll always go that little bit easier for the first 200 meters just to get the legs moving again, and then just to get settled and then like get into the rhythm of it. And yeah, usually when I was coming around the backside of the track, I was like about 400 meters. Then I would know if I settled in. If I was at 170 heart rate, I'd be like, whoa, calm down, back it off. And you would do, you just like just pull it, tap the brake a little bit, let off the accelerator, and then get back into that 165, 167 heart rate. And like for you, if you're listening and you are wondering, oh, how do you work out your heart rate? A good way, an easy way to do it at the start. There's obviously tests that you can do to really, a VO2 test is the most accurate way you'll get your heart rates. But if you are, let's say 30 years of age, 220 minus 30 gives you 190. That is 100% of your max heart rate. For me, I'm nearly 40. 220 minus 40 gives me 180. So my maximum heart rate is around 180. And I have tested that before a couple of years ago, but that was at 186. But now I'm 40. I'm nearly 4 or 5 years older than what I was when I did that test. So yeah, and then you can work out like 85, 90% of that, and that will give you your heart rate. No, that's usually kind of like for this event. For intervals, for running, for marathons, all that changes. But just for this specific event, that's where I felt most comfortable that I wasn't going to redline it and push too hard and go over the top. So I was running around that 165, 167 heart rate of like, and that's beats per minute. So get around the run again, and then I'm on to station 3, the sled pull. Now, this is where I make my biggest mistake, because I don't think about what I'm doing. Which I do think about. I was like, okay, I'm going to grab the rope. I'm going to walk it backwards. I don't use my arms to bicep pull the sled. I just walk it back 1, 2, 3. I think you get about 4 steps in the box. Throw the rope to the side, grab the rope, walk it back 1, 2, 3, 4. Throw the rope to the side, come back in again, grab the rope. And like when the sled is further away from you, it's heavier. Once it gets to halfway, it gets a little bit lighter. But I do my first length, which is the same length as the sleds. I think it's like 12.5 meters. Then I go back down, get the rope, reset, do it again. Do 1, 2, 3, and then do the fourth one. And the fourth one is where you're meant to stop and run out the gate to go running again. But I decided to do another one. And I had my partner, Kirby Jones, roaring at me. But in the moment, I did not hear anything. I didn't hear anyone talking to me. I didn't hear anyone roaring at me. But when I did leave the track, my sled was in the wrong position. So the judges were having a look around, going, understanding how is he sled down that end when everyone else's sled is at the other end. But they didn't realize, like they could have thought that I did one less, but I actually did one more, which it took me, that station took me about 5 minutes, the sled pull. And I probably should have, that would have probably taken a minute off. It was like average, if you did 5 pulls and it took you 5 minutes, then I probably lost a minute there by doing the extra sled pull. So that was a big mistake. But again, in the moment, it's hard to count. It's hard to think about what you're doing. You're just kind of, I just want to get this up and down, and I want to get it up and down, but you forget yourself. But you do, so you do have to try and like be glued in when you are actually doing anything that involves you having to count. Fair enough with the skiing, the row, the meter mark is on the skier or the rower. When you do the farmer's carry, we actually had to do 2 laps of a track, so that's something you have to be mindful of. Burpees and stuff was simple enough, so but like you do have to try and make a conscious effort to remember where things are and how many you actually are doing. once I got off that part, that didn't take too much out of me. Like doing the sled pull didn't take too much out of me in general, fatigue wise. I felt like that it moved pretty well. It didn't spike my heart rate. I didn't feel like it was too hard. Obviously, I did an extra one, which didn't help, but I was able to run freely off that station. So that again is understanding what your strengths are. If you weren't 90 kgs, you'd probably struggle to pull that. If you were 60 or 70 kg, I feel like there's an ideal weight for HYROX, and it's like not to be too heavy, but also not to be too light that you can't pull and push the sled. But everything else kind of like works in your favor, because obviously the lighter you are, the quicker you'd run as well. The heavier you are, the harder it is usually that you would run, or the longer it would take you to run. But getting into the fourth station, you get to run. All the runs, I felt I was pretty well up to the fourth run, which I'm on now. I was like, I'm running pretty well. I'm confident in my running. I feel like that 165, 167 is a good place to be. But I don't know how it's going to go in 4 more runs. So just stick with what's working. Don't do anything too stupid. And I get back in, and it's onto burpee broad jump. Now, the burpee broad jump was one exercise that I knew was going to cook me. I honestly believe, and it's something that you can tell me if I'm wrong, stepping up from the burpee is a difficult movement when you are 90 kg. And then to do a plyometric 2 feet jump at 90 kg drives your heart rate through the roof. But it was good that I had seen this whole step up. It's like bring your knee up, your right knee up first, step your left leg up, and then jump. And then you do your 2 foot takeoff, you come back down to the ground, chest to floor, bring your knee up, then stand up with your opposite leg, and then do your plyometric jump, your 2 foot takeoff. It does seriously decrease your heart rate. Like if you're just going to do a normal burpee, jump up, 2 feet jump up, 2 feet takeoff, and you are going to continuously move for, I think it's 80 meters, you ain't going to be running too hard and fast off those burpees unless you absolutely love burpees and you weigh 60 kg. That's the God's honest truth. So for me, I was like, nah, kneel up, step up, jump, kneel up, step up, jump. And I think the burpees was probably my slowest station. I think it took like close to, outside of the sled pull, but it was still between that about 4.5 minutes of burpees. But I was able to run freely off the burpees again. Whereas I remember when I did it in training months ago, where I was doing like a normal burpee that I would have always done, and then 2 foot takeoff, I was absolutely cooked after about 20 meters. Whereas this one, you could just like move through it. And funnily enough, my good friend Billy from Unit 27, who now owns his own gym, The Cult in Rawai, which we got down to see, was there. Him and his partner Lizelle. As I was down the ground, I just heard this big roar coming from someone. I was like, oh shit. Billy, of all people, he was a CrossFit coach at Unit 27. He was there leaning in over the barrier, and I haven't seen him for like 2 years probably. And I was like, oh shit. So I think that definitely helped me move my ass a little bit faster than what I would have wanted to do. But I was definitely going, okay, well, don't make it look like that you are really dying doing a burpee broad jump. But I was able to get through that one pretty, like I was quite happy with how that went. And with that method as well, that really reduces your heart rate. And to get out of that, then I was like, okay, cool. Like, it's actually, I'm over half an hour and I've only 4 stations done and 4 runs done. I think I was nearly 35 minutes in at this stage. And I was like, oh, these 4 stations aren't the worst, but I know the ones that are coming, like, are going to be tougher, because there's going to be lunges, there's going to be wall balls, there's going to be the rower, there's going to be the kettlebell carry. And I was like, shit, like, I might not be anywhere near this 1 hour 5 mark that I was kind of calling at the start of the week, and like I might be closer to that 110 probably doing well. But we move on to the back end anyway, and the back end of HYROX for me, it's the point where you will know if it's going to make you or break you. I'll tell you the truth, because if you found the first 4 hard, it ain't going to get much better from here on in. And it's all quad dominant. Like, it's running, It's lunges, it's wall balls, quads on quads on quads. That's all I can say to you. And you know, the fatigue has already been building up from the first four, and if you've gone out way too hard, you're definitely going to be well over the fatigue is going to be huge, and then it's going to get a whole lot worse. So for me, like, you know, the rower being station number 5, take the rower, all right, and be kind to yourself on this rower, because it'll be the only time you're going to sit your ass down for the rest of this event. So it is a good little breaker, I like to say an icebreaker, but it's like, it's just something to give your legs a bit of a break. And you can't really push or pull the rower. Like, you're not going to make up much time on the rower. You're not going to lose much time on the rower, but you're also not going to gain much time by trying to go harder. So it's just like, just get on the rower, find a pace that works for you, and stick with it. And like, again, for that, I'm on that rower. I'm sitting on the rower. I'm a bit stronger on the rower compared to the ski. So I can probably row around that 2 minutes to 2:02 per 500 meters. And I do about 20 strokes per minute. So that's like 1 stroke every 3 seconds. So you like deep breath in, extend out, big pull. Deep breath in, extend out, or reach in and big pull. And it's just nice and controlled. It's like a deep breath in and exhale. Like, so the rhythm and your breathing can slow down dramatically, which is great. And it does. It is, like I say, going to be the only time you're going to get your ass on a seat for the next 20, 30 minutes. So again, that was taking me just outside the 4 minutes. One thing I didn't realize with HYROX was, you can think that your ski and row times are, let's say, around 4.5 minutes. You can do your 1,000 meters on the ski and on the rower in 4.5 minutes. Your HYROX time in HYROX is 4.5 minutes plus the time it took you to get from. They have a map, like a mat that's the timer, which can add about 10, 20, 30 seconds to the time you enter and exit that area as well. So just because you finished the ski and the row in 4.5 minutes, there's an extra 30 seconds probably added to that, so that's your overall time on the ski, which I did not realize until the day before the event. So you might be thinking, oh yeah, the guys are doing 4-minute skis and 4-minute rowers, or this person did 4.5 minutes. Well, it's taken them that plus the time to get on the rower and to get off the rower and out the other side, which, like I said, adds about 30 seconds to it. So on the rower, take that in. Again, you're just like, you're telling yourself there's still more to do. You still have, at this stage, you still have 3 runs and 3 exercises, you know? So I'm like, hey, 3 runs, 15 minutes, 3 exercises, another, 12 minutes. That's another 25 minutes or 27 minutes already. I'm like, shit. And there was a little clock every time you used to come into the inside, to get you to the exercise, would tell you the time. And I was like, oh, this time is pushing out. And like, it was never about the time, but I also didn't want it to blow out too far. So I didn't. So I got out anyway onto the next run. And the next run, you are heading into lunges. Or you're heading into the farmer's carry, sorry. Now, the danger here is you're going to do your run, then you're going to pick up your kettlebells, your 224s, or if you're a female, you're going to be doing 216s, and you're basically going to run through the kettlebell, the farmer's carry. So you're not going to get a break. As easy as the kettlebell farmer's carry is technically, and it takes the least amount of time to do out of all the 8 exercises, your heart rate does not come down. So you've just done your 1 kilometer run. You'll do your 200 meters of farmer's carry. I was able to do it unbroken by not putting them down. It was actually 2 lengths, but like, I used every bit of strength I had not to put them down. It took me about a minute and 40 seconds. But when you do put those kettlebells down, your heart rate is still, if not, it's probably even higher, because you've just ran with 48 kgs in your hands. So you've come in off that run at your heart rate's at 167 when you finish the run. You do slow down before you get to the station, so you're probably coming in maybe at 150, 155. You pick up the kettlebells and the heart rate's back up to 170, probably even 175 for me at this stage. And then you've you come out of that again, and you're like, okay, now I got to run another kilometer. So you're basically like doing 220 or 2 kilometers and 2.2 kilometers, but 200 meters of that is with kettlebells. So your heart rate, that is one part where I think the misconception of like it's the easiest exercise, but it's the hardest part because you're doing 2 kilometers of running basically back to back. But the farmer's carry, again, having a good grip. Um, you don't have to practice it too much, but if you want to go unbroken, then you got to build the strength in your forearms and in your shoulders, and just keeping your chest up and shoulders back, and just like moving through that area as quick as you can, really, because you can definitely make up a bit of time there, but you also want to be able to run as smoothly as you can once you get out the other side. So once I get out of that, I'm onto the run again, and again, yeah, I know that this is working. I know that 165, 167 is fine for me. That just stay there, just keep it at that, because what's coming next is the lunges. Now, the lunges with 20 kg, 80 meters of lunges with 20 kg in your back. This station, it didn't just surprise me. It took my soul, because you're looking ahead. You're thinking, I'm at the end. I've got this. I don't have far to go. I only have wall balls. And you're saying that before you've not even lunged. So anyway, I pick up the bag, put it on my shoulder, and I do about 20 meters, and I can feel my quads. And the only bit of a break you're getting here is that when you get to the end of the track, there is like a turn point that gives you a momentary break. But you stand up again, and you get to the line, and then you start to lunge again. And this definitely catches you. Like, you are definitely going to feel your quads, no matter what, especially doing the solos. Like, when you're doing solo and you're going to have to do it all yourself, you've just ran 6 kilometers, 7 kilometers actually. You've just done a whole load of work. You're close to an hour deep into all of this, and now you've got to do 80 meters of lunges. Like, doing it in isolation, even in training, you will feel, if you ever try to do 80 meters of lunges with a 20 kg bag, or a 12, or I think the girls is 15, you're going to feel your quads. Like, you're going to feel absolutely everything. Hip flexors, quads, like just upper body, like holding that bag in a stabilized position, upper body, you're going to feel it all. And it is one area of the race where you got to be mindful, and you've got to be strategic, whether you break it up every 10, 15 meters, whether, you take a bit more time at each end, or whatever the case may be. But the lunges are going to suck. And when you do get to the end of your lunges, I think it took me, I don't know, about 3.5 minutes to do my lunges. You got to put the bag down, and then you got to run like a baboon or a hyena out the gate, or Bambi, because your legs are going to be all over the place. And it will take you a lot longer to get going off the back of the lunges onto the run than it will do probably in any other exercise. I think the sled will do it to you as well. If you're not, well, it will do it to you, but if you're not strategic on the sled, you'll definitely be running sideways out the gate once you get onto the run. But with the lunges, it's just that movement pattern. Like, there isn't much to it. It's all straight line, but you do feel your quads. Like, you're getting depth, your knee touches the ground, you're getting full range of motion, and you're standing up and you're back down again. And it's just the amount of volume over that distance. I think it's 80. It could be 100 meters. Forgive me if I'm wrong. And yeah, and then you get onto the run. And then you tell yourself, right, I only have one station to go. Like, the wall balls are next. Like, get this run done. Make sure you get in there. Like, make sure once you get to the wall balls that you have something left. Because I don't know about you, but in the back of my head I was thinking, oh yeah, Red Bull badge, 100 wall balls unbroken. Can I do it? And in my own head, I was like, nah, there's no chance you're doing it. Your ego is telling you you're doing this, but there's no way in the world you are doing 100 wall balls unbroken. I don't give a shit if it's 4 kg or 7 kg or 10 kg. The ball is 7 kg or 6 kg for the guys in the open. And with my lack of mobility and flexibility and the way I've trained and the lack of training, there's no way I was going to be doing 100 unbroken. But if you are not strategic in the wall balls will take you a hell of a lot of time. So when I got in, I was like, okay. And I also, and I said it on my last podcast, I said that the judges are for sure going to call me out on some of these reps. Anyway, I pick up my 6 kg wall ball, I line up. I have a couple of friends behind me, Aaron O'Loughlin, Mark is there, Kirby is there, Chanel is there. They've all come over from Perth. And on the first wall ball, the judge is tapping me, going, "You got to get lower." And I was like, "Are you fucking kidding me?" On the first wall ball. Anyway, I open up my hips thinking, I'm about to give birth basically. Push the knees out, plant the heels on the floor, squat as low as I can. My elbows are touching my knees. My back my back is not straight, people. Like, I have a rounded back when I do a wall ball. It's terrible. Like, it honestly is. And I don't know if my wall balls ever looked good, but they're absolutely terrible. Ankle mobility, shocking, the whole lot. Just to look at it will just pick you. It'll just pick you apart. A wall ball. Like, if you show me someone doing wall balls, and if you show me, if I look at them, I'd be like, great mobility. That looks beautiful. Next person, terrible. Like, you can see it, and that's, might be good at some things, but your wall balls can still look shit. And I said it on the last time as well. If you can make your wall balls look like butter, it's a beautiful, beautiful skill and exercise to perform. Kirby Jones is the best wall baller I've ever in my life seen. Some people with great mobility, ankle mobility, range of movement, the whole lot will look good doing wall balls, but you will see a lot of shit wall ballers, people, and I am a shit wall baller. But I get to about 30, I'd say, and then I'm thinking, 35, can I get to 50? And I was like, nah, put that wall ball down. I was like, shit, like, and you've gone too far, like, you've done way too many now at this stage, and like, you're cooked. So it is a case of like, all right, I'm only going to do 15 to get me to 50. Then I'm going to do 15 to get me to 65. Then I'm going to do 15 to get me to 75. And then I do 10. I was like, oh shit, I've about 25 to go. And like, you're just trying to push and push and push. And like, yeah, I think it was down to sets of 10 by the end of it. And then I trud over the line, get going, get to the finish line. And I come in at 1 hour and 13 minutes and 40 seconds. Now, it's always a big thing with what's your HYROX time. And the truth is, I do not think I could have done that any better. Yes, if I had trained more, yes. But given the way I had done the race, the way I had decided my strategy, the way it actually went, how comfortable the runs did feel in a sense without going too hard. Like, I kind of know like when I'm running at threshold, which is too hard, like, which is fine on a normal day, but to be running threshold at, or just sub threshold, which is about that 165 mark, probably 170. Like, if I was doing intervals, I'd be at like 175 for 200 meters or something. But like, I feel like I ran the runs perfectly, and I did the stations as well as I could on the day, besides obviously the sled pull, which took me an extra length, because I'm an idiot and I didn't think about it. But everything other than that actually went pretty well. Now, like, my runs averaged out to be 4:11 per kilometer, for the runs. However, HYROX work it out, let them do their thing. 4:11 per kilometer, which is basically like my threshold pace. If I was to do, what's it called, uh, a time trial, probably like what is this, a 5k time? Well, no, not a 5k, 10k. A 10k sub threshold would probably take me about 42 minutes, I'd say. If I was racing, I'd be closer to 40 minutes, just above it, because I've never done a sub 40-minute 10k. But the running did work out quite well. Definitely, like, what caught me the most was to do the lunges, like lunges into wall balls, the back end specifically. Like, if I was only ever going to train again for HYROX, I would only train the back end. Like, that's the truth, because I feel like that does the most damage. And when I say about the damage that was done, I could barely walk out. You had to cross over these like a railway crossing kind of thing to get across to the other side of the track, and I could barely walk up the stairs. That was after doing one HYROX event. I had to do doubles the next day. me and Kirby Jones had to do doubles. And I honestly thought to myself, how the fuck am I going to do all this again tomorrow? And the longer, like that was at 9 o'clock in the morning. 6 o'clock that evening, I was in so much pain. I have never felt pain like this. I've done a lot of things. Now, I know I didn't train the best I could have trained for it, that's for sure. But I never expected to feel the level of pain that I felt after doing this. But you probably need about 3, 4, 5 days of recovery after a HYROX event to come back fully prepared or like to recover from it. But I gave myself 24 hours before I would have to throw myself back into a doubles event with Kirby. Now, the fear I felt on that Saturday morning, people, was second to none. I was like, I actually don't know if I can do it. I don't know if I can get someone else to do it with her. Like, I don't want to let her down, but like, I am in the world of pain. So again, I was up at 5 o'clock in the morning. I was outside doing this 20-minute jog up and down the street. Absolutely crippled. Could not touch my toes. Could not sit. I could barely sit down. That's the God's honest truth. But one thing I will tell you about doing the doubles. It was a lot more enjoyable than doing the singles. And for anyone that's thinking that that they mightn't have it in them to do a doubles or a single, doing it with someone that you can train with will make the doubles event so much more enjoyable. Yeah, you have to do all the running together, which is fine, but the exercises you get to share. So you do get that break before you get back on the track again. Now, our strategy for the doubles was basically Kirby would set the pace for the runs. Kirby, by setting the pace, because say she's a slower runner, then she could set the pace without me pushing her too hard. Because if you push someone too hard in the run and they can't run as quickly as you, then you are going to suffer. This is a group. It's a team effort. So you've got to have a strategy going into it. And ours was Kirby does the runs at her pace, and I run off her shoulder. But every time we get to the stations, I would start the station, so that would give Kirby a break when we got in off the run. And then I would finish the exercise, so that would give Kirby a break before we had to start the run again. And like, just to give you like a brief, like a very quick overview on that, I would start the ski. I would do 300 meters. Kirby would do 400 meters. I would do 300. The sleds, I would do 3/4 of it. Kirby would do 1/4 of it of each length. For the sled pull, I would, when the sled was further away, I would pull the sled 3/4. Kirby would do 1/4 of it. When we got to, what was the next one? Burpee broad jump. Kirby did more burpees because Kirby's better at burpees. So Kirby did 80% of the burpees, and then it was just to give her a break. I would do 20%. So she might do, if there was, I don't know, was there like 6 lengths of burpees I'm new to do, she would do 3/4 of it, and I would only have to do 1/4. And I was like, oh, this is great. This is the dream. It is brilliant, because that's exactly, it honestly felt so good to give me a break from the stuff that I hated or that I wasn't as good at it. So that was the burpees. The rower, I would do 300. She did 400. I did 300, so that gave her a break. Then on the lunges, I would start, then hand over the bag. So we kind of split that up 50-50, because again, the girls have to use the guys' weights for the doubles, by the way. There is no like girls or guys' weights. It's you're using the guys' weights from the open. And then we had our, was it the last two the kettlebell carry. I just did the whole kettlebell carry, because basically it was a run, a 2.2 kilometer run for Kirby. So yeah, and like we did that pretty fast as well. And then on the wall balls, what I do realize with the wall balls for the partner one is that it doesn't take that long to change over. So like, I was so sore, I started, and I think I did about 25 or something. I was like, I don't need to do 50 unbroken. Like, I can sit down. So she actually did, I think, closer to 50. I did 25, and then she did 50. And then I started again, so we only 25 left. I did about 15. I said, there, you can finish it. I was like, I'm sore enough. And then she finished the last 10, and then we finished. But our doubles time was My singles time was 1 hour 13:40. Our doubles time was 1 hour 14:40. So there's only a minute of a difference. But it's definitely a lot more enjoyable to do the doubles than to do the singles, unless you are well equipped to take on the singles. And that's just the men's open. Imagine doing the men's pro. Oh my God. Like, that would be a whole world of pain and suffering. But look, I'm not going to hide the fact that I didn't train that well for it. Um, One of the biggest regrets I do have now is the fact that I signed up to Sydney next week. You heard that right. Coming off the back of Bangkok, I was like, we went to Phuket for 10 days, full on training holiday. Don't even think I recovered from it properly. Went straight in doing Unit 27, down to Jibby at Pirate Camp, up to Billy's at the Cult in Rawai. Just HYROX. Everyone does HYROX. The whole place is full of HYROX at this stage. Like, CrossFit, even for fitness holidays, it's like people don't even want to do CrossFit. They just want to do HYROX. But, you know, it is a lot of conditioning. And obviously you want to be supplementing it with your strength work and nutrition, everything else. But I didn't show up to it at 100%. No, I signed up for Sydney the week after, or not even the week, I'd say a couple of days after doing Bangkok. And I was like, this gives me 12 weeks to prepare for Sydney. And it's next weekend. And the truth is, I literally only started doing HYROX 2 days ago. 2 days ago. And I have about 8 days to go at work. I go up to work this week. And then I fly down on the Thursday, I fly to Sydney on the Friday, and then I race on the Sunday. And I'm telling you this now, people. This is my prediction for this. I am looking to survive that race without doing, like, it's going to take me a lot slower. I'm not going to be running nowhere near as hard as I could have been. I'm not going to be pushing anywhere near what I did for Bangkok, and I'm not even going to sugarcoat it. Like, you know, and the truth is, the last couple of weeks, I actually did this thing in May where I set myself, training wasn't going well. I'm finding it difficult, to tell you the truth, to get motivated, and I hate the word motivation, but like just training by myself. We've lost our gym in Mandra as well, by the way. It closed down. That wasn't ideal, and we're waiting until August for the next one to open. So unless I go to Perth on my week off, like, which is an hour away to train, you know, that's kind of madness then as well. But look, I'm giving you all the excuses in the world, but I've really struggled the last month or so with my with training, everything really. It's like life can be difficult. Like, I'm not going to get too into it, but like, there's lots of things that just are not lining up for me to be my most productive self. But I was like, I'm going to get back into it, like, because I can't turn up to Sydney and be absolutely crippled. So I am, like I said, I am signed up. I am going to do it because I have signed up for it. But yeah, it's just like, you know, life gets tough sometimes, and I'm not going to leave this on a sour note or anything, but I just haven't put in the effort for Sydney. And I regret signing up for it, but I'm going to have to go and do it. And then, like, Perth HYROX is in, maybe 6 weeks' time. I haven't bought a ticket for that because, to be honest with you, now I don't even think, I'm actually at work that weekend, but I'll see if I do sign up for it. But I thought signing up for Sydney would make me train like 12 weeks flat out. It just didn't happen. But what I did do, I probably did the most productive I've been was May came around, and I was like, I'm just going to do 100k in May, which is like you run an accumulative distance for May, which is 100 kilometers. And I was like, all right, I'm going to walk 50. I'm going to do 50 kilometers of walking. So that might be like, you know, do 3k 15 times or whatever in the month. And then I was going to do my run, my 100k in May. So I might run 8k, I might run 6k, run 5, all that. But I ended up running about 130k over the month, or was it 130? Yeah, 130k I think I ran, or 140. And then I walked about 60 kilometers. So I covered about 200 kilometers over the month of May. But then I was like, complete drop off. Like, I was like, one day I was running and I was like, I actually can't do this. I'm so sick to death of running up at work by myself. Just like no desire, no, what's the word I'm looking for? Desire, no, not even just encouragement, but just no fire in me to be doing it. So I gave it a break for about 2 weeks, and then it's only been the last couple of days where I've been like, I got my nutrition together again, like 10 days ago, and like, yeah, I was doing small bits in the gym, but like nothing crazy. And then, but HYROX specific, there's been nothing. So I do regret signing up for it, but here we go. I have Sydney HYROX in 10 days time or 12 days time, and I'm gonna go and I'm gonna do it because I do believe as well, not all events are going to be ones where you perform your best or you're going to get PBs, or you should be striving for PBs, just to be in the environment where people are showing up, giving something a go, getting shit done and putting in the effort. I'll put in my 100% effort for that day that needs to happen. It won't be my best 100% effort that I've ever put in, but like, I've only done one HYROX race, so you never know. But I certainly won't be too bothered about my time or how things go. Obviously, I don't want to get injured. That's 100%. I don't want that to happen. But I will show up and give it a go. I have friends there that I'm going over to meet, Jonathan Caffrey and Christina Caffrey and Liam O'Hagan. And I'm sure I'm going to run into so many more people. So at least if I go there in a good, positive mindset, like, get my nutrition's in check, that I'm drinking enough water, that I'm going to bed early, that I'm doing some bit of HYROX training. Like, I had 2 good HYROX sessions the last 2 days. It was just about doing volume, no intensity, 45 minutes, did all the exercise, kind of split HYROX in half, did one half, did the other half. And, been walking outside, walking on the treadmill, going on the Stairmaster, watching the World Cup every day when I can, and watching the mini highlights, which, I love the World Cup, I love football. And, and that'll continue for the next month, the World Cup, which gives us something all, well, I don't know if everyone wants to watch football, but it gets me excited. And yeah, just do the training, go back up to work in 2 days' time, do some 30-minute gym sessions and HYROX sessions, and just put me in good form going to Sydney. Have a good weekend in Sydney. I'm only there for 3 days, and then I come back, and then be like, okay, kick on from there, hopefully. But I said that last time as well, and that didn't really happen. But that's the gist of it, really. Nothing else from me today. Just wanted to say thank you all for listening. Let me know if you've signed up for any HYROX events. Let me know that you've listened to this podcast. Don't even have to share it. I'm just glad that I have had the chance to sit here in my car. Sun is setting behind me. I am recording it for YouTube on my phone. And yeah, it gives me something for the next day to put this out online or onto, onto Spotify, etc. And I always, it's always a difficult thing to do, come on and talk, but, I've rambled on for nearly an hour, and I can't thank you enough for listening. So people, best of luck. Thank you very much. Talk to you all soon. Bye-bye.